Hello and welcome. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to talk to you today, yes you, I'm talking to you, about what I read in October. So, first thing I finished was When We Were Very Young by A.A. Milne. This is a poetry collection, very short, only 100 pages. This copy, my mum gave to my dad for Christmas in 1986, and then I wrote my name in it because I'm an idiot. God, if my kids did that to me, I'd be so cross. But anyway, this is a beautiful collection of poetry. It's full of whimsy. There's only one thing in here about Winnie the Pooh. Most of it's just kind of random stuff about children's lives. Very beautiful. One thing to think of, though, is how Christopher Robin was still very young. And he didn't know, or I don't know how much he knew, or certainly didn't consent to his life being published. You know, the last poem in this is about him saying his prayers before bed, which is very intimate. I'm in the kitchen and you can see there's like lens flares all over the place. It's like a Star Trek movie. Anyway, I gave this 5 stars because I think everyone should read it and it's just beautiful. Next thing I read or listened to was The Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia. This is the, I want to say, 4th book I read. And it follows, this is quite a while ago, it follows the search for Prince Caspian's son. And you've got Eustace Scrubb there from Voyage of the Dawn Treader. He almost deserved it. And a new character called, I want to say, Jill Poole. And it's interesting how they're school friends. They end up in the world of Narnia. They meet Aslan straight away. They then go and they're on this quest to find the lost son of Prince Caspian. Prince Caspian is now a very old man. And yeah, they're on this quest. It actually takes them underground, like under Narnia, into this underrealm, underworld, underland, that's what they call it. I thought it was really cool. The villain I thought was quite cool in her like witchy ways. The twist, I thought, as an adult, the twist was like, oh, okay, cool, that's what they're gonna do. As soon as you read what the setup for it. As a kid, would that have been a big twist? I don't know. But still, I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed this. I like the fact that it didn't have a big battle at the end. It's just they did what they needed to do, and then the whole land was crumbling, and they managed to escape. I really liked that. Yeah. So the next thing I read on my phone on the Open Archive was Green Witch, the 3rd book in the Dark is Rising series by Susan Cooper. I gave this 4 stars. This was the best one for me so far of this series. The first one was Oversea Under Stone, which follows a group of children in Cornwall who end up finding, I think, the Holy Grail, something like that. The second book was The Dark is Rising, which I read earlier this year, which followed Will Stanton, an 11-year-old boy, the 7th son of a 7th son, who finds out he's got magic powers and he's actually incredibly old. He's one of like these mythical creatures, people like Merlin who can live forever in past lives and all that kind of stuff. This book brings the two of them together. The focus is still definitely on the children from the first book. Will Stanton is definitely a side character, I would say. You don't really go into his head that much. You see how he is perceived by the other children, how he says strange things, and how he's very good friends with their great uncle Merry, even though he's only 11 years old. The magic in this, so the magic in this series is very vague and ominous and dark, and it feels really intangible and unknowable. I found The Dark is Rising really hard, parts of it really hard to read because of this, because you just don't even know what's going on. This, I felt I could really tell what was going on. I loved the paganism of all of these old rituals, and this green witch, it's the Wicker Man, basically. And it becomes, you've got nature intervening in this battle versus the light and dark. This was really good. I really enjoyed this. I think I just wanted more of it. It's pretty short, and Will doesn't really have that much to do. But I loved the villain of this guy who's a painter. Yeah, you still trying to figure out what's going on. I thought it was really good. Next thing I listened to was The Horse and His Boy, which is book 5. That's the order I read it in. I listened to it in, of The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This takes place just after or like during The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, but like in that big time jump period right at the end. So you've got the kings and queens of Narnia, the 4 Pevensey kids they're in, and this is set in a different land to the south. There's a big desert, and it's about a boy who is a slave, basically, and he escapes with a talking Narnian horse. They meet up with a princess who's trying to escape, and another talking Narnian horse, and they go across. There's a big battle at the end, so if you like that. For me, it was fine. It was fine. I quite like the prince of this Archenland, who was just a lunatic. I quite enjoyed him. But for me, it was 3 stars. The thing that brought it down was the descriptions of this land. It's just the Middle East and Turkey, and it's makes me feel a little bit icky. But still an enjoyable read. Listen, and I'm going to listen, hopefully, to the rest of the series this year. And then I would have done The Chronicles of Narnia, which would be good. Also, I think it was this one. I can't remember if it was this one or The Silver Chair, where the narrator kept saying Aslan, and Centaur. And I was like, oh, just learn to speak, man. Anyway, the next book I read, which took me quite a while because I didn't enjoy it. Fourth Wing. It's super popular. My sister-in-law loves it. I gave this 1 star. I've got a review. I put loads of work into that review, and then my phone deleted all the footage, so I got really, really cross. I got a bit mad. I went on a bit of a rant, but I think this is a really, really poorly constructed book. And I didn't like it. I thought it was stupid. Yeah, I don't really want to go into it too much more. Thing is my friend, she read it, and she really liked it. So I'm outnumbered 2-1. So I was thinking maybe we could have like a Zoom call or something, where either I convert them into hating the book, or we just argue. That would be fun. Let me know if you want to see me just be really grumpy. My wife's like, maybe you should become like a grumpy YouTuber, old man. And I was like, no, because that means I would have to read books like this, and I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, 1 star. Then I read A Snake Lies Waiting. This is volume 3 in the Legend of the Condor Hero series by Jin Yong, originally published in the 1950s in China, only recently translated. Kung fu stuff on a pirate ship, kung fu on a desert island, kung fu with a bunch of homeless people. Heroes are heroes, villains are villains. You've got characters in between. It's all about honor and people fighting for not necessarily the right reasons. It's got a mythic quality. It says here, a Chinese Lord of the Rings from the Irish Times. I'd kind of get that because it has that timeless quality. It's actually historical fiction. It's set in, I want to say, 1400s China during the invasion of Genghis Khan. But this book, I gave it 5 stars because I've loved every book from this series. Though this is the closest it gets to 4 stars for me. But it's still 5 stars because I love everything about this. Then I read George's Marvelous Medicine to my kids by Roald Dahl. This is a book that I remember reading as a kid, but don't really remember that much about it. So a lot of it was, seeing as I read it when I was like 8 years old. So it's been a while. We read this to our kids overnight. They loved this book. They loved pretending whatever was happening to the grandma, they would act out, and that the reading to them was such a nice experience, and they really enjoyed this. For me, I gave this 4 stars because although the bit with everything that happens to the grandma is hilarious, the whole like first third of the book is just a big shopping list of him just putting stuff in. Though it did come to fruition because the kids were like, "Oh, they didn't put that in. Oh, they didn't put that in," and my kids really remembered how this went. So this is one of their favourites, I think. But yeah, really good read. Then one book that I haven't finished yet is Les Mis. So I've got a version of this on my Kindle, and this was what I've been reading because my big book is 1,000, 1,200, 1,300 pages. I can't carry that around. The text is so small, it's very debilitating. But I read volume 4 in this, which means I have one volume to go. I think it's about 250 pages of my very small textbook. This is just a free Kindle version, but it's so much easier to read on this. In volume 4, we have Cosette and Marius in love. And then we have the barricades. We finally get to the barricades. And people are dying all over the place. Javert there. Gavroche is such a good character in this. What an amazing character. Kind of as both the characters themselves, in terms of they're incredibly charming. They show everything that was wrong with France in this time because they're so poor and so destitute, but also they work as a great fulcrum for the plot. Sorry, all my books are about to fall over, so I'm just moving them. And everything almost revolves around Gavroche in a really interesting way. But yeah, you get Eponine and Marius, you have Marius and Cosette, you have Javert on the barricades, you have loads of other stuff about politics, and if my aim is to finish this book this year, I'm going to try and read it this year, finish it, and it would have been 3 years of reading it, on and off, very much off. If I do it, I would... My thoughts on this book are incredibly complicated. I need to think a lot about it before I give a review, because it's just a lot, okay? And then the last book, which I wanted to read in October, and today is October the 30th, so I've got 2 days. I don't think I'm going to read it in that time, but I'm going to carry it over into November, is Hocus Pocus, and the all-new sequel from Disney, and it's written by someone who's not on the front cover, A.W. Janther. So I am a smidge under 100 pages in, yeah, page 89, and the whole thing is like 520 pages, but the first 200 and so, just under 200, are the original film, and then the second part is the sequel. So, and this sequel is completely different to Hocus Pocus 2, because this came out first. So, and people say they like the book sequel more than the film sequel. I think the film sequel's fine. So far, it is a novelization of a film. They say all the same things, but it's just, for me, Hocus Pocus, the best part about Hocus Pocus is Bette Midler's performance and the way that she's having a whale of a time and chewing the scenery and having a great time doing it. And that doesn't quite come across in book form. But I am still going to hopefully finish this in the next few days and then kick off into my November reading that I've got planned. And I'll do that in another video. So overall, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 books finished. 1 volume finished, which is the size of a book, and 1 book started. So I think that's about 2,000 pages, which I'm really pleased with because I was on holiday for a few days, so didn't really read much. I read on the train journey to and from Paris, but I didn't read in the nights because it was just, Disney's just very tiring. And also Fourth Wing was a struggle for me, so that took a long time to read. But I'll probably try and film another video where I go through what I'm going to read in November, what I'm planning to read in November. And this will be the start of that. Anyway, please give this video a like. It really helps. If you like my videos, subscribe. I appreciate that. Give me a comment. I will reply to every comment and interact, because one thing I like is talking about books, and comments are another way to talk about books. If you would like me to film a discussion on the Fourth Wing, or not the Fourth Wing, Fourth Wing with my sister-in-law and my friend who liked it, let me know. Also, if you'd like to maybe have a discussion with my wife about her favourite Roald Dahl books and my favourite Roald Dahl books, let me know in the comments below. She will likely never come on camera, but you never know what might happen. Anyway, look after yourselves. I'll see you soon. Get out of my house!